o'clock, Lace. I'm Esther, and welcome to another episode of Rants of a Barca Girl. Thank you for joining me on this podcast. Thank you for your likes. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for your follows. Thank you again and again and again. I'm really grateful. Last week, we spoke about Miami Madness and how ready our squad is for the coming season. If you didn't have time to catch up on that episode, you can just pause on this, scroll down and listen to it, or maybe finish with this one and then get back to it later, whichever works for you. I'm going to be reading one of the comments we got on our social media from Alexia, and she said, no, that match must stay in Spain. And I completely agree. If you listen to the podcast last week, I kept ranting about how it's just not fair for Tebas and his cohorts to take that match to Spain, where it's like 9 hours time difference, and fans that have paid for a whole full season ticket would now have to travel, or even some of them that can't even afford it will have to wake up in the middle of the night to watch that game. So I completely agree with Alexa. Is a no and no. So today we are going to be talking about our first match. The boys played first match of the season against Mallorca. I'm going to be talking briefly about that just because I don't want to analyze it in depthly. I feel like it's the first match, so I'm just going to calm down. No big deal about it yet. And then we're going to be talking about how UEFA slapped us in the face. Yes, they did. They slapped us in the face. We are going to be talking about the present state of Camp Nou that never seems to end. That drama never seems to end. It looks like it's going nowhere. And then we are going to be talking about the registration problems, where we are on that, the steps that is being taken to resolve it. And then I'm just going to throw it out to you fans on your thoughts, your comments, your opinions, your solutions. What do you think we should do? What do you think the board should do differently? Not that they will ever listen to us, but just throw it out there. So the first thing is Mallorca Barça. Yes, that was the first game of the season, and of course it was an away game. It was quite interesting. At the first 20 minutes was really interesting. We scored 3 goals. The first goal was scored, of course, by Rafinha, assisted by Lamine. Beautiful goal. Torres scored in the 23rd minute of the game, and then Yamal eventually, after several attempts, trust me, if you watch that game, you would know what I'm talking about, scored in the last minutes, which made it 3-0. There was like 2 red cards there. 2 of Mallorca players were sent off. So like I said, I don't want to really talk much about that game because I feel like immediately the red card happened, a player kind of signed off completely from that game, and then Mallorca, of course, went on to defend all the way. So I'm not going to speak much about that game. The good news is that we got 3 points. Thank you very much. That's all I care about. Thank you, God. We got 3 points. That was the first win of the season. Amazing, brilliant. On to the next one. So that's all I can think about right now. And the next topic, of course, is UEFA. Yes, UEFA slapped us in the face, which, to be honest, I'm not really surprised. So we went to UEFA. You know how the old drama with Camp Nou going on, where we thought we would be in Camp Nou right now. We thought even our first game, I thought we were going to be playing that game. It didn't happen. Anyway, that's not the news. The news is that we went to UEFA and we said, okay, you know how we are still struggling with Camp Nou. You know how our problem of Camp Nou just seemed never to be ending. Can you please just do us this tiny favor and let us play our first game away? Yes, we did that. Very ballsy of us, right? That is what we did. We went. And then whoever has come back to say, I am very sorry. Okay, they didn't even put sorry. They told us outrightly to our face that it's not going to happen, pal. Get your home together. That's not going to happen. We are not setting that kind of precedent. It has never happened before. It is not going to happen with you. That's not our business. And I am not even surprised, because who does that? I mean, you went to UEFA to say, okay, because we are special, or because we are Barcelona, or because I don't even know what the board is thinking. I don't know what the management is thinking to even think about that. Anyways, UEFA said big fat no. I'm not surprised, like I said. What does that mean for us? What that means for us is right now is that we are going to wait until we are going to have to wait on the 28th of August. The draw is coming. The draw is going to happen on the 28th of August. And if we are lucky, which I hope we will, the draw would favor us such that we would be able to play our first game away. What that means right now is the fact that we are now depending on the outcome of the draw. we are now leaving everything to God and luck to say, okay, whoever we draw, however the draw comes out, let's hope that we will be able to play our first match away. That is what we are hoping for now. So based on the strategy on ground, I'm not even sure they have any strategy. That is what we are waiting for. So we won't know where we would be playing our first match until say 28th or 30th of August, when the whole fixtures is out. At least the group stage fixtures is out. That is all we are depending on. Even I can't believe it myself. It's unbelievable. Yes, that's it. And then let's move to Camp Nou, which is the whole issue of why this even happened in the first place. Remember how they told us, oh, Camp Nou, we're going to be moving to Camp Nou last year, November? Yes. And we're so excited. They were like, oh, it's going to happen November, which means we're going to play, the next season is going to be happening there. Blah, 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 blah. Yes, that's what they told us. November came, and then they said, oh, relax, it's going to be January. And then January came. And then the board said, come on, it's going to be April. We couldn't stop this, we couldn't stop that. It's going to be April. And then April came. After April, June came. And then they said, oh, yes, we realized what is going on. The construction, the company in charge did this and that. I remember how Laporta also told us, oh, there was this clause of construction company paying 1 million euros per day, if there's a default or something. That was what he came out to tell us. It was making it seem like, oh, he negotiated a fantastic contract such that if they were unable to meet up with that schedule, they'll be paying us 1 million euros per day. We should be in money by now, shouldn't we? We shouldn't even have issues at all. Anyways, is it that Laporta? Sorry, I keep saying Tebas. That's another story entirely. Is it that Laporta is lying to us, or maybe for some reason it's not even in the contract at all? Maybe it's in the contract and we are unable to activate that clause, which means we are either stupid or Laporta is lying to us. I don't know which is which. I'm just going to leave that to you guys to decide what is going on. But anyways, as it is, the company is not ready. It's not in any way ready. I don't know if you have been keeping up with the news. So the city council agreed with Barcelona. I mean, Barcelona went to the city council and they made a deal to say, okay, can we have this sorted out batch by batch, phase by phase, which means that yes, it was supposed to be 66,000 capacity at first, but because of the whole issue surrounding the whole construction and the whole delay, they went to the city council and they said, okay, can we do this phase by phase, which means, okay, let's start the first ring with 27,000 attendance, and then we move to the next phase, which is about 40 something thousand, and then we move to the final phase, and the city council agreed. Anyways, the city council went there a few weeks ago, in preparation for what's supposed to be our first match, first home game in Camp Nou, against Valencia for the one coming up September 14th. So they went there to check to see if they can give occupancy, authorization for the first phase rather, which is for the 27,000 attendants. Anyways, they went there and shocker, we found over 200 faults that still needs to be fixed. 200 faults that needs to be fixed for the first phase. I'm talking about the 27,000 attendance phase. Anyways, to cut a long story short, it's not going to happen. It's not looking like it's going to happen. And then what that means, what we've done now is to secure a plan B. I think it's actually plan A. If you ask me, I don't think it's plan B, it's plan A. So we've gone back and, we've spoken to the council and we've said, okay, we need our Olympic stadium. We need, at least we secured that till February. We've now secured that stadium, Montjuïc, till February. So here is another kicker. There is going to be a concert, a Post Malone concert on the 12th, which means that space is not available for us to play on the 14th of September. We cannot play with Valencia on the 14th of September. So what this means is that we are either going to use the Johan Cruyff Stadium or we play behind closed door. To be honest, I think the realistic one would be playing behind closed door, because we all know, the Johan Cruyff Stadium is used by, Barca Athletic, the Barça B, and then Femini. So the women have their own schedule, Barça B has their own schedule. So there might be a clash of schedule, sort of. So I think the only realistic thing that is looking like it's going to happen is that we are going to play behind closed doors. So it's just going to be the players and the officials. Yeah, that is what we have been reduced to. But anyways, that about that. There's nothing we can do about it. But my fear now is the fact that there is no official date for when we are moving back to Camp Nou. There is no official date of when that is going to happen, and that's so scary because we've been at this forever and ever, and they keep lying. The board keeps lying. So we know it's a big project. Everybody knows how, because apparently what is going on, I think what is going on is the fact that we are building around the present structure. So it's not like everything was torn down from or we are starting from the scratch, which will have been better according to what the construction people are saying or the project management people are saying. But we are building around it. But that's not even the issue. The issue is the fact that they keep lying. Today is January, tomorrow is June, tomorrow is... Just tell us the truth. We are not dumb. We know what is going on, but God forbid they ever tell us the truth. So as it stands, guys, please let's not even get excited because we don't know when we are going back to Camp Nou. It's not looking like this. Realistically, it's not looking like it's going to happen this season because we all know the Champions League rule, the UEFA rule. You have to play all of your group stage in one stadium, which means the whole of our group stage, UCL group stage, is going to be played in Olympic Stadium, and that's like till February. Yes. And so we only have about 3.5 months to the rest of before the end of the season. So realistically, let's just accept that it's going to be in Olympic Stadium again. That depressing Olympic Stadium. That's where we are going to play our match. Well, it is what it is. Now I feel like I've spoken a lot about this already. Let's move on to player registration. So thank you very much. Thank the Lord. We were able to register Rashford and Garcia, and they played our last match. Fantastic. Now we still have to register Rooney, we still have to register Chesney, and of course we still have to register Gerard Martin. But the good news is that Romeo, we all know Romeo, right? He's going to be leaving soon. So we are not getting any money from him. There's not going to be transfer fee because clubs that are interested in him are not willing to pay any transfer fee. So it means he's going to be going free. So at the moment, Barca has reached an agreement with him, and so he will be leaving the club free to join whichever clubs he wants to join. But the only good news there for us is that kind of free all space, the financial play frees all space for us to be able to register Gerard Martin. And Nancy Flick has said, okay, the priority right now is Gerard Martin. We need to get him registered as soon as possible. Yes, especially now that we've moved him to centre back. Remember, Inigo is left. So we need that flexibility at the back as much as we can get. So that's that about Gerard Martin. Hopefully he would be registered soon. Good news. And then now we move on to Chesney. So with Chesney, what the club is hoping for is the fact that Frankie de Jong will be renewing his contract soon, and then there's going to be some sort of negotiation process in place, and then that would give us room to be able to register Chesney. Probably there will be some salary reduction talks about. Anyway, that's what they are hoping for, that when he signs his new contract, that will give up we'll have enough space to be able to register Chesney. And next is Rooney Badji. So this is where it gets tricky for Rooney. So when we brought in Rooney, the club thoughts at that time, their thought process at that time was the fact that, okay, Rooney was going to come into Barca B, and if he comes into Barca B, or if he's not good enough, we would loan him out, let him get all the required experience, and then he would come back. Or if he's okay, he would keep playing for Barca B, but then we would be able to pull him out once in a while to come and play for Barca A as it's when needed or required. Well, apparently we looked at him this preseason and we realized, oh my God, this is so good. He's good enough for Barca A, and now we want him to play for the first team fully. So that's what it is. And then we have gone to La Liga to tell them this is where we are right now. This is what we think. What do you suggest? And La Liga has recommended that we register him as Barca A, so which means we have to do that full registration. But here is the twist to the whole thing. Remember the new 18-year-old Argentina boy that Real Madrid just bought, Mastertuano? Yes, I hope I pronounced that very well. I can't seem to pronounce it well. They brought him in and they registered him with their B team. They said, oh, they bought him for reserve. I don't know how you spent. Do you know how much they spent on that boy? 60-something million pounds spent on him, and they are saying, oh, they're bringing him for reserve. I've never seen a reserve cost that much.